Welcome to Sunrise Celebration 2011. We're live from the festival. I'm here with Christian Kyriacou, who is what's your job description?
Various descriptions. One is the House Whisperer, which relates to a TV show that I'm doing, which is about my working with the soul and energy of buildings. And what I'm doing here at Sunrise is actually talking tomorrow about soul retrieval of buildings.
Right. So you're saying the buildings have like they're living things almost?
Absolutely. When a building is designed and brought to birth, it has a soul just like a human being. And so the character of that soul, how it's shaped, its whole essence will be affected by the architect that designs it and the people who then work with it. And so, like in feng shui, we talk about the astrology of a building, and it has a birth date from the moment you put down that first foundation stone. It's the same kind of thing. So that soul is there in essence. But what happens is, as people start to live in the house, their own life stories and emotions start to overlay and build up, and eventually that essential soul gets lost and fragmented.
So our energy, as we live in the house, we're giving off these vibes. If we have an argument, or if we're upset, if we're really happy, they all go into the building.
Absolutely, but if you look at the sacred geometry of space and the molecular structure of what we have around us, in a perfect situation, we've got pure sacred geometry. And what happens with energy is once it's impacted through emotion, or any earth energy activities, any traumas, building works, for example, anything like that starts to scramble this invisible framework. And once that energy gets scrunched up, any activity or emotion from people will then start to get locked into that, and that begins to get stronger and often darker if the energy is dark. And so you eventually get this, you walk into a house and you feel this is really heavy. But that's what people are talking about. They may not understand the mechanics of it, but everyone is sensitive to it.
Is that a bit, Christian, is that a bit like if you walk into a room and, there's a really happy vibe going on, everyone's having a laugh and everyone's having fun, and all of a sudden someone walks in who is really depressed, and they come in and the whole vibe kind of changes. And
because their energy fields are emanating sadness, depression, trauma, whatever's going on in their lives, and so those fields are radiating, and other people are going to pick it up. So it's very similar to that.
And what about your own house? Do you have funny vibes going on there?
Well, when I first moved there 11 years ago, there was the spirit of a lady who was the first resident there in 1939.
Wow.
And she was very keen that whoever bought the house, and it kept on falling through with a lot of previous buyers, she was very much into spiritual work and wanted the next owner to be working in that way. So my buying the house was very easy. I looked at it from the outside and I knew I had a connection with it, the soul, connected with the soul of it.
Have you had a chat with this woman?
Yeah, in the early days. She's gone now, but she was hanging around to make sure that I was taking over, and with her blessings. But I work a lot with people at this level with the ghost energy, the paranormal energy. People don't realise how much that affects people.
Do you think, obviously it does affect people, if you're living in a house and you're feeling some funny vibes, so maybe get in touch with Christian.
Why do people choose a particular house? What story is it that matches their resonance? Their childhood, possibly going into past lives of events that have happened, and so you're attracted to this house, and often people don't realise why, but things are going wrong, which is why I go into people's houses. But once you start to unravel the story and actually help them to see what's been going on, it's extraordinary. It's like a real aha moment, and then they actually can see what the issue is, and it could be an issue of trauma in their childhood, and so they seek a house that they can psychotherapeutically sort it out. So I call it psychotherapeutic regression of houses. But while you're doing that with the house, you're doing that with the person, and you're matching them together, and in the process doing the space clearing or realigning. And once you get the original soul of the house and the original heart soul of the person to match, then everything goes, I feel at home.
It's a bit like house therapy.
Totally house
it's
therapy.
House therapy. It's like if you have a problem house, then you can get the house whisperer to come and sort it out. What can people do at home if they've got sort of funny vibes? Can they try rearranging furniture? What can they do?
That often creates worse problems because you're shifting the energy around.
Right, don't do that.
There isn't a quick answer to this, and believe me, years of experience. It's not about shifting furniture. When we move furniture, we're changing the energetic code. It has a value, but it's about what does that furniture represent. And often doing our own feng shui, moving furniture, we don't see our own problems, and so we're going to avoid the locked room, the room that has got the rubbish in. We say, no, don't worry about that, let's do the living room. Yeah, hey, that's the room we need to actually address, because that's where the issues are. I don't want to face.
Sure.
I don't want to deal with that issue.
What about attics?
Attics with, I could tell you some horrendous stories, but I had
tell us one, yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. The thing is with attics, the angles and the beams impact on our energy. And there's one consultation I did, and I came to the office, and the message on the answer phone was, hi Christian, I'm a friend of so-and-so's, I'm in real trouble, my son has just jumped off the roof. He survived, but that was like, okay, great. And what happened was they'd converted the attic, and he slept up there under all these cutting beams. Now again, when you've got these angles shutting down on you, lots of beams, it disturbs your energies. And what happened in this case, it opened up, it was destroying his own energy field, his own self-protection field. And it opened up psychic gateways, and he was getting people energies coming through saying, get a shotgun, shoot your family, and then get up on the ledge and jump 3 floors down, and he did. So that's an extreme case.
Yeah, that's pretty extreme.
Of loft conversion.
Don't go moving your furniture just yet. That's very extreme.
But I would always advise never have your bedroom or your business in the loft, because it will fail. Things will go wrong.
Really, so people with loft conversions and that sort of thing, you think bad idea, keep it as a storage space, or
Ideally, there are ways of making it workable, but overall, I would say, avoid it.
Where's the best place to have a bedroom in a house?
There isn't an answer to that. Because a house, as we said, it's got an orientation, it's got a birth date, and so on. And if it's located in a certain north, south, east, west direction, there are 2 different systems of feng shui that can kick in. But again, both systems will say, well, the Chinese classic system will say put the bedroom in the relationships corner, the southwest, whereas the Tibetan system will say put it in the top right from the front door. They're 2 different systems that can apparently conflict, but they can work together. Also, the other thing is we've got earth geopathic energy, and And when you've got that, that can be very negative and damage our health. And you don't want to put a bedroom there, whatever the orientation is. So there are so many levels that I consider when working with people.
Okay.
That it's not a simple answer.
This is not going to be a simple answer, I can tell. One question I have got. Someone told me that you should sleep with your head facing the north and your feet facing the south.
Again, it depends on when you were born. When we are born, where the stars are and the orientations. Certain orientations will be more propitious to us. So north will be for a person born on a certain date, and so on. So there isn't an answer that fits all.
How can we find out what way we should be sleeping?
There are books with information on that. That's easily available in feng shui or the various systems.
Cool, Christian. Have you written any books yourself?
I'm in the process of writing the House Whisperers Manual, which will give the public, it's kind of like a follow-on from the TV series, but it will give the public very household level approaches to being able to look and be aware of the issues at hand.
A bit of do-it-yourself.
A kind of do-it-yourself manual, although I'm a little bit concerned by even saying that. And the other book I'm writing is 108 stories of the House Whisperer, which is 108 of the most fascinating consultations I've worked with people, like the one I mentioned, and so many, like in America, where there was a family, for example, who were total warfare with each other, and it turned out.
Sounds pretty common.
But if you go back to what the story is, you've got a chance to resolve it. And what had happened was that half the family were white, and the other family energetically were American Indian.
Right.
And of course, you've got the warfare playing out through them. Now, where they built their house was on the site of a massacre of a Lenape Indian village. So, hey, they've been drawn together to resolve two cultural battles. And so I worked with them, took them through all the rooms, and in fact their son had died in one of the rooms that was the epicenter. It's extreme, this energy. Yeah. And as we worked through the rooms, I was using sacred sound, and you could actually hear the pain coming through the sound of that original battle. And we went through each room, and it resolved and resolved. And we were down in the lower ground where the garage was, and the American Indian sister, you could see the whole energy was holding a tomahawk. I'm going to...
You actually saw...
I see energetically the original past life, just like I'm looking at you now, and don't ask me what I'm seeing.
Come on, tell me. I really want to know now.
I'll tell you the end of the story. But this American Indian sister was looking at the garage door that was shut, and she said, I can see myself crouching down there. And suddenly the electric door just opened halfway on its own. And she said, my spirit's just flown and released. And then the door shut on its own. And the white, and the father who was on the white side, said, it's not possible, it can't be, so extraordinary things like that. But until you actually get what is the actual root cause of that story, you will never get resolution, not full resolution that the family can then rest. And it was incredibly cathartic and really successful, and that family was able to move on, apologise to the son that died, that they didn't understand his problem, but he was sleeping right at the epicenter, and that took him out. So these things are very, very far-reaching, very powerful.
It can go extremely deep, can't it? It's not just about moving a chair from one place to another or doing washing up.
That's your common book feng shui, which is all good, and I'm not knocking it, but it is much, much deeper than that.
This is deep to the
serious
core.
Soul architecture,
Serious
shamanic
stuff.
architecture, I call it. So,
Now, Christian, tell me what you see. Come on, you can't leave me hanging like that.
I see a man with great knowledge and great connection to. I know you showed me a picture of the house you're living in, and you've got a connection with that whole Jacobean energy. Yeah, a lot more's coming through. You may not.
Yeah, I got drawn to for those of you who don't know, I was drawn to the house I lived in. I didn't want to buy a house, but I saw a house and thought, yes, and I had an opportunity to acquire part of it, so I did and made every effort to do that. And we were talking about houses and people we lived in. I said there's sometimes a funny vibe in my house, and Christine was telling me that it might be because it's been split up. And
yeah, because what happens with, we were saying, with the soul of a house, that a house has an original soul, as we said earlier on, but when it gets split up, I will go to these houses and I can hear them crying that they never asked if they could cut me up. And I can feel it in my gut.
Yeah.
Because you're chopping up an architecture, a being, a soul that is whole.
Yeah.
And we fragmented it. And that fragmentation, like I was saying about the geometry, the sacred geometry, starts to impact on our energy, any energy that's coming through. But the fascinating thing, and my question to you, is why were you attracted to that energy, to that house? What is it that is in your life, your story, that you need to resolve, that you went and found a matching pattern, like we do with a partner, and we play out relationships, resolve our own stuff through the other person as a mirror. Yeah. So that's something I would encourage everyone to look at.
Yeah.
That's the starting point.
Very, very interesting. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you backstage here, Christian. And are you doing a talk at the Avalon
I'm doing a talk tomorrow up at the Avalon Rising, and the subject is soul retrieval of buildings.
Brilliant. Well, we'll look forward to streaming that. Hopefully we'll be able to capture that. In the meantime, please do stay with us. Log on to goodisplanetearth.org. We're accepting donations. We're all volunteers bringing the sunrise live to you. Let us know what you think. If there's anything that you are missing, you'd like us to go and capture and follow or see, please let us know and we'll do our best to bring it to you.